And in the 7th chapter, we heard in the beginning that Krishna is going to explain how we can practice yoga with mind attached to him. In this way, we can come to know him. Then he explained that very few people want to understand him or even free themselves from material entanglement. Then he explained his two energies, the eightfold separated energy, earth, water, fire, air, ether, etc., and the superior energy, the living entities. Then he said that there is no truth superior to him. Everything is resting on him, like so many pearls on a thread. Then he explained that how everything is resting on him, how he is the origin of everything. So in one sense, he is everything, although it is explained also in the 9th chapter. In one sense, he is everything, but he is still different from everything. So he explains, I am the taste and water, I am ability of man, I am the light of the sun and the moon, and so many things. And he says that all states of being, whether of goodness, passion, and ignorance, are manifested by him alone. There is nothing independent of him. Then very important verse 14, Krishna said that now the superior energy, the living entity, is under the control of the inferior nature. So he says this divine energy of mine, consisting of the 3 gunas, is very hard to overcome. But one who surrenders unto me can easily cross beyond it. Then next he described 4 classes of men who never surrender to Krishna. Atheists, uncivilized people, etc. And then 4 kinds of persons who do take to devotional service. Who remembers what these 4 classes are? They are called Supratina, because they are basically pious, so they have a background of pious activities. Therefore, in various circumstances, they render service to Krishna. What are these 4 classes?
One is distressed.
Distressed.
And another, people asking for money.
In need of money.
Inquisitive.
Inquisitive.
Yeah.
You're looking at the book? No? Your notes?
No.
You're looking down at something? Yes, the distressed, those who want to get some money, those who are curious, and those who are actually searching for a knowledge of the absolute truth. So that's where we left off. So in text 18, or text 17, Krishna says, of these, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best. For I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. So the 4 kinds were Artha, Jigyasa, Artha, Arti, Gyani. Gyani means one searching for knowledge of the absolute. And here Krishna says of the 4, the Gyani is the best. But he qualifies that also, not just any Gyani. He says, Ekabhaktir, who's purely devoted to me. That kind of Gyani, Nityayukta Ekabhaktir. that'll be explained later, that a Jnani, when his knowledge becomes complete or full, then he understands actually there is nothing besides Krishna. And so he surrenders unto him and engages in devotional service wholeheartedly. So Krishna says that kind of devotee is the best, my pure devotee, who is always engaged in my service, that I am very dear to him and he is very dear to me. That is a reciprocal relationship. So I'll read the purport, or at least some. Free from all contaminations of material desires, the distressed, the inquisitive, the penniless, and the seeker after supreme knowledge can all become pure devotees. But out of them, he who is in knowledge of the absolute truth and free from all material desires becomes a really pure devotee of the Lord. And of the four orders, the devotee who is in full knowledge and is at the same time engaged in devotional service, the Lord says, is the best. By searching after knowledge, one realizes that his self is different from his material body. And when further advanced, he comes to the knowledge of impersonal Brahman and Paramatma. When one is fully purified, he realizes that his constitutional position is to be the eternal servant of God. So, by association with pure devotees, the inquisitive, the distressed, the seeker after material amelioration, and the man in knowledge all become themselves pure. But in the preparatory stage, the man who is in full knowledge of the Supreme Lord and is at the same time executing devotional service is very dear to the Lord. He who is situated in pure knowledge of the transcendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so protected in devotional service that material contamination cannot touch him. Text 18, all these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my devotional service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect goal. Purport, it is not that devotees who are less complete in knowledge are not dear to the Lord. The Lord says that all are magnanimous because anyone who comes to the Lord for any purpose is called a Mahatma or great soul. The devotees who want some benefit out of devotional service are accepted by the Lord because there is an exchange of affection. Out of affection, they ask the Lord for some material benefit. And when they get it, they become so satisfied that they also advance in devotional service. But the devotee in full knowledge is considered to be very dear to the Lord because his only purpose is to serve the Supreme Lord with love and devotion. Such a devotee cannot live a second without contacting or serving the Supreme Lord. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is very fond of his devotee and cannot be separated from him. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord says, Sadhavo hridayam mahyam, sadhunam hridayam tvaham, madanyate na janati, naham tebhyo managapi. The devotees are always in my heart, and I am always in the hearts of the devotees. The devotee does not know anything beyond me, and I also cannot forget the devotee. There's a very intimate relationship between me and the pure devotees. Pure devotees in full knowledge are never out of spiritual touch, and therefore they are very much dear to me. First, I will read text 19. Finish off this discussion of Jnani. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. The living entity, while executing devotional service or transcendental rituals after many, many births, may actually become situated in transcendental pure knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of spiritual realization. In the beginning of spiritual realization, while one is trying to give up one's attachment to materialism, there is some leaning towards impersonalism. But when one is further advanced, he can understand that there are activities in the spiritual life, and that these activities constitute devotional service. Realizing this, he becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrenders to him. At such a time, one can understand that Lord Sri Krishna's mercy is everything, that he is the cause of all causes, and that this material manifestation is not independent from him. He realizes the material world to be a perverted reflection of spiritual variegatedness, and realizes that in everything there is a relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Thus he thinks of everything in relation to Vasudeva or Sri Krishna. Such a universal vision of Vasudeva precipitates one's full surrender to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna as the highest goal. Such surrendered great souls are very rare. This verse is very nicely explained in the 3rd chapter of the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Sahasra Shirsha Purusha, Sahasraksha Sahasrapad, Sabhumin Vishvato Britva Tyatishtad Dashanangula Purusha Evedam Sarvam Yad Bhutam Yatscha Bhagam Uttam Britav Vashishano Yad Annena Tirohati. There's no translation. In the Chandogya Upanishad it is said, Navai Vacho na Chakshumsi na Shrotrani na Manam Siti a Chakshate Prana Iti Eva Chakshate Prana Evaitani Sarvani Bhutanti. Bhavanti. Yeah, Bhavanti. In the body of a living being, neither the power to speak, nor the power to see, nor the power to hear, nor the power to think is the prime factor. It is life which is the center of all activities. Similarly, Lord Vasudeva, or the Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, is the prime entity in everything. In this body, there are powers of speaking, of seeing, of hearing, of mental activities, etc. But these are not important if not related to the Supreme Lord. And because Vasudeva is all-pervading and everything is Vasudeva, the devotee surrenders in full knowledge. So after this, it is described about the worshippers of the demigods, who are called worshippers of Anya Devata. So are there any questions about these verses?
The correlation between in between giving up materialism and at that time of development, leaning toward impersonalism.
Yes, that statement was there. Is even the devotee, as long as he is still in the conditioned state, he has a tendency towards impersonalism. Because the way I would take it is that as long as one is materially entangled, there's a lot of suffering, lot of perplexity. So the tendency is just to become free. Liberation or impersonal liberation is just basically based on the idea nirvana, just finish all that. No more material life, no more material suffering, no more material body, no more material anything. So as long as one is suffering in material existence, the tendency towards that impersonal liberation is there. It's attractive. It's not actual. I was just reading BhagavadGita that actually impersonal realization is not actual happiness. Sometimes it is said that the happiness enjoyed by impersonal realization is thousands or millions of times greater than material happiness. But just as Prabhupada always explained, there's actually no happiness in the material world. What we call happiness is just a temporary cessation of distress. One example I could think of came to mind is I always hated going to school, to college. So when I finally graduated and there was no more college, I was happy. But that's not happiness, that's freedom from distress. Real happiness is a positive experience. Similarly, it is said impersonal liberation, that happiness is just the relief of getting out of material existence. Actual positive happiness is in relation to the reservoir of all pleasure, Krishna. That is positive happiness. So in these verses, some things to be pointed out, which are already pointed out in the purport, but to be remembered, that Prabhupada stressed is that there were described 4 classes of those who never take shelter of Krishna. Some people, when they're distressed, they don't take shelter of God, they take shelter of intoxication, crime, suicide, or whatever. Some people, when they're in need of money, they don't take shelter of God. They take shelter of working hard, bank robbery, selling drugs, or whatever. Many other ways to make money. In other words, those who are atheistic by temperament, they think there's no use in asking an imaginary God for relief from my distress, better go to a doctor. If I need money, why go to God? There's no God anyway. Better get money by hook or crook. So therefore, that all of those who do take shelter of Krishna with a motive, although this is not perfect, still Krishna says, Udarta means magnanimous, very great. So he's appreciating that they take shelter of him, even with some desire. Taking shelter of Krishna with some motive or desire is condemned in many places. But here in the purport, Prabhupada takes it in another way. That out of affection, they're asking Krishna for something. It's like people may come to the temple, Krishna, give me this, give me that. So Prabhupada takes it out of affection. Just like a child may affectionately ask the parent, I want this toy, I want that. Child has a desire, but approaches the parent out of some love. Or the wife may approach the husband, I want this, I want that. It's a personal, selfish desire, but mixed in with love for the husband. So she's asking like that. So Prabhupada takes it in that way. But in many kinds, in many places, that asking something from Krishna is condemned, because it's condemned to distinguish it from pure devotional service, which makes no demand. So that's something to be pointed out. Then, something that Prabhupada quoted a number of times in text 19 says, Bahunam janmanam ante gyanavan mam papadyate. That one who is the Gyani, searching for knowledge of the absolute truth after many births and deaths, if his knowledge becomes complete, Gyanavan, then mam prapadyante. He surrenders to me, knowing Vasudeva Sarvamiti, knowing that actually I am everything. Then he says, Sa Mahatma Sudurlava. Such a person is not simply Mahatma, Sudurlava Mahatma, Prabhupada pointed out. There may be many Mahatmas, but this Mahatma is described as Sudurlabha, which means very, very rarely to be found kind of Mahatma. One out of many Mahatmas. Very great Mahatma. Sometimes Prabhupada would say his disciples were like that. Because they have surrendered everything, taken shelter of Krishna, taking Krishna as everything. So we'd say, you are all Sudurlabha Mahatma. Of course, the spiritual master is sometimes encouraging, sometimes also chastising. Similarly, Krishna is described as a great personality, sometimes harder than a thunderbolt, very strict, very harsh, and sometimes softer than a rose. So Prabhupada many times chastised his disciples, and many times he encouraged them also in a very soft and nice way. Then, as it explained here, not in detail, but it is indicated that for those who are in knowledge of him and who are constantly engaged in devotional service, Krishna is indicating the intimate relationship between him and the devotee. Priyohi Gyanino Chartam. Achartam means very much. So such a person in knowledge of me and always engaged in devotional service, he is very, very dear to me, and I am also dear to him. So we can take it that, of course, there are many devotees, But those who try to understand Krishna by reading about him, by hearing from the bona fide spiritual master who actually try to understand Krishna, that they are considered by Krishna better than those who simply take to his service in order to gain some kind of advantage. Then we are reading also in the end of the 18th chapter in our other everyday Bhagavad Gita classes. Krishna said that one who carefully studies Bhagavad Gita, he's performing, worshipping me by his intelligence, he's performing a Jnana Yajna. And he said that simply by hearing with faith from the proper source, by hearing this, simply by hearing, even if one doesn't study thoroughly, but if one goes on hearing, he attains to the planets where the pious living entities dwell and becomes freed from all sinful reactions. So it is always emphasized that knowledge is better than lack of knowledge. We also read previously, I forget exactly where, in the, I think, 4th chapter, where there's different kinds of sacrifices. And then it is said that better than dravya jagya, or a sacrifice of possessions, because many times worship of the Lord involves sacrifice of one's wealth, or giving some donation, or performing in previous ages, some elaborate sacrifice with so much ghee and grains and gold utensils and whatever. But Krishna said, better than the sacrifice of things is Jnana Yajna. Better is the sacrifice of knowledge, or the sacrifice of one's time and energy for the purpose of cultivating genuine knowledge of Krishna. But in any way, by approaching Krishna, that is very much appreciated in this section. And the next section, that those who approach other gods is very much condemned, and those persons are called very foolish, bewildered, and of small intelligence. So there are many people that think that Hinduism means there are many gods, and that all the gods are equal. But that is not the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, and especially in advanced texts, the idea is that there's only one God, Ekale Ishvara Krishna Arsa Brita, which was discussed on Sunday, Nityananda's appearance day. That actually there's only one God, and even these other gods, they're all servants of Krishna. So one who worships the servants of Krishna, thinking they are independent gods, or supreme truths, or independent bestower of benedictions, such persons are condemned in the next verses, which we will read next time.
So is Shiva also means he considered demigod, or is he?
Well, Shiva is considered a demigod, or in a more refined sense, he's considered in between demigod and Krishna. See, there's Vishnu Tattva, Shiva Tattva, and Jiva Tattva. So Shiva is in his own class. He's not Vishnu Tattva. He's not exactly on the level of Vishnu or any of the other forms of Vishnu, but he is far above the Brahma, Ganesh, etc., who are all Jiva Tattva.
Oh, even higher than Brahma? I thought was he the son of Brahma, supposed to be?
Well, Krishna was the son of Vasudeva and Devaki,
Oh.
but that doesn't mean that devotees say, oh, Vasudeva and Devaki, they are God more than Krishna. See, Shiva is said to appear in between the eyebrows of Brahma when he became angry, then Shiva appeared. But it's also, there was Varaha, Dvadasi. Varaha appeared from the nostril of Brahma.
When you said earlier, you said different question. You said have other planets when you have no sin or something you're born. What kind of planets are these?
These
Heavenly
are,
planets?
yeah, in that verse, Prabhupada explains this is Dhruva Loka, a planet above all the higher material planets, even above Svarga Loka. So, different grades of beings reside on different planets according to their purity or contamination.
So we are the lowest, but
Now we're in the middle.
where is this Dhruva Loka?
Well, Prabhupada says it is the pole star.
Oh, we are Dhruva.
Hmm?
Pole star.
You know what is the pole star?
I've heard about it. I thought I knew. Now I'm confused. That is in Chandrama.
Huh?
That is in Chandrama.
Chandrama? I don't know what is Chandrama.
You can see the post.
Chandra.
The
Yeah.
It's standing on the back of the temple and looking up. And it stays in the same spot.
Yeah, I studied astronomy. Pole star is the one star that never moves. All other stars, just like the sun moves across the sky, the moon moves across the sky, stars also go around like that and they rise and set. But the pole star does not move.
Oh, it's like in Norway. Like in Norway, 6 months is only dark.
Huh?
No, that's
no.
So this pole star, but how far is it from here?
How far?
I mean, it's a star, so it needs to be like, but is it far
Oh, it's
away?
very far. I don't know how far.
It's like the sun, but it's because it's a star. It's like our sun.
Well, according to Vedic understanding, these stars are not actually like sun.
Mm.
Of course, we see something pole star, but its actual situation is beyond our vision.
Every star just die on the pole star. How can we consider that knowledge?
Cannot.
All time everybody was starting like finding the way where poles are going north or east. Because that star always stays.
Yeah.
Everyone like
Uses
old
that
time.
as
An
a-
old time when they
They
go
were
by
using-
boat,
Yeah.
then they judge which way to go by the
Yeah.
pole star.
Oh.
So anyway, we could at least think, well, what should become a Jnana Bhakta, not just a casual devotee. Jnani Nitiyukta Aika Bhakti.
Anyone wants to see the pole star, we can go.
Well, there's those people who are in pole star, they've done a lot of, I don't know how they.
Yeah, they are the
Good
most
karma.
pious, good karma, yeah.
Good karma. But it doesn't mean, I mean, they can also come down, right, if they do something.
Yeah. That is also in Bhagavad Gita. Even you go to the highest planet, Brahma Loka, still can come down. Only one who attains me, Krishna says, never comes down. Anything else?
नहीं ज्ञान न सदृशम पवित्रम एवं विदते नहीं ज्ञान न सदृशम
Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram yavidite tatchayam yoga samsira kalena tvanidite. Yeah, Krishna says there's nothing so pure as this knowledge. It is the purest.
How was it if Shiva also God and why smoke ganja and then why?
But I never saw that or read that Shiva was smoking ganja. His devotees maybe do, but I never saw that he did. I've read many Puranas where pastimes of Shiva are talked about, and they never said that he was smoking ganja.
It's just like people say, oh, Rama, when he was sent to the forest, he was eating meat. Okay, that doesn't mean that you can. And even if he was smoking ganja, that doesn't mean.
Well, it never says that Ram ate meat.
In the forest,
some
people want to say that.
Well, it does say that they killed deer, but it doesn't say that he
Is
ate.
Ram Kshatriya?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even if he did, it doesn't mean now people can in Kali Yuga.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's what Prabhupada says about Shiva, because in the pastime or the story of the demigods and demons churning the milk ocean to produce Amrita, nectar, first some very terrible poison was produced called halahala or something. So everyone was very afraid this poison was going to destroy the whole world. So then maybe it was Lord Vishnu's suggestion, let's go to Lord Shiva for help. So Shiva took permission from his wife, and she said, okay. And he drank the poison, that's why he became Nilakanta.
Oh.
He drank that poison, and he became Nilakanta. So Prabhupada says that the followers of Shiva think because he drank this poison, we can smoke ganja. But just because Shiva's powerful, he can drink that poison. If you drink it, you will die. Should follow the instructions of those who are very powerful. Should follow their instructions, not try to imitate their activities.
Shiva always, another thing, he always sat on a tiger skin. Now people are also trying, some Shiva bhaktas have tiger skin in them.
Even in Bhagavad Gita, in the 6th chapter, recommends sitting on a deer skin
Wow, really?
for yoga.
Oh, dear.
For deer, yeah.
It's a common process described about what happened if you follow the
Hmm?
The following verse.
Next verses are about demigod worship, yeah.
Demigod worship.
That we'll do next week.
Oh, there you go.
Today's time finished? Yes.
Yeah,
What time is it? 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.
well, it's not finished, if there's any question.
What does that mean, the deer skin?
Their skin,
I know, but did they kill it?
that's the problem, poor dear.
Well, somebody killed it.
Or they could have just found it dead.
Well, the Kshatriyas, they always hunted in the forest. Throughout the Bhagavatam, there's the story of so many kings, and they're always going to the forest to hunt. So they killed many deer. Then I would imagine the sages, if they want some deer skin, they ask the Kshatriya, give me one deer skin. Just like the story of Mrigari, the hunter. Narad Muni was going in the forest, and then he saw some animals flapping half dead on the ground. Oh, who is doing this? Then he saw the black hunter, Mrigari. He met him. The other animals fled away. So Mrigari, the hunter, was very angry. All my animals have run away because you have come here. But because Narada was so saintly, he couldn't say anything bad. Instead, he offered his respects. He says, is there anything I can give you? A nice tiger skin or a deer skin? He asked like that. Something I can give you? That was his idea of charity. Must have been a common idea of charity. Narad said, no, I don't want any of your skins. I just want one thing from you. What? Break your bow and don't kill any more animals. Good, yeah. You are a lover of animals.
Yeah, why did they use all kinds of skin, deer skin? I thought they're not supposed to use, right, in Kali Yuga, I mean, not even do anything like, yeah, sacrifices.
Yeah, in Kali Yuga, not recommended.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, even I must say I'm also sometimes